In the meantime, the BC NDP have released an ad attacking the Christy Clark Liberals. Let's have a look.
Politics has become a dirty word for too many people. We have to bring people back to the political process, making politics more meaningful, more positive, more thoughtful, more generous. And at its core, that is about optimism and hope and opportunity. It seems to me that we have to get our priorities right. Change for the better, one practical step at a time.
All right, are you pumped? Well, let's bring in Vancouver 24 Hours columnist Bill Tieleman. Bill, you think you'll vote NDP this time around? It's a rhetorical question.
I'll be at a full 19 decibels.
Oh, yeah, you'll be. Now, enough of that. Listen, what do you think about the air wars, and particularly the idea the BC Liberals, not the BC government, is going to pay, I guess it's global, some money, half an hour prime time to take its message directly to the voters? To me, this sounds like, I wouldn't call it a Hail Mary, but it sounds like they really are not, think they're not getting good play from their friends in the press, and they really need to go over the heads of the media.
Well, I don't think a $100,000 half-hour show is going to be enough to do that, David. It's a time-honored tradition in BC. We've seen many political parties, the NDP, the Liberals, do this sort of thing before. I don't think that it really appeals to a lot of undecided voters. I don't think there's a lot of people saying, gee, I don't know enough about Christy Clark. I don't know enough about her policies, etc., so I'm going to watch for half an hour. But it does get some buzz, and we're talking about it, so it's having some desired effect, obviously. And I think it's a good thing for people to do. If they've got something to say for half an hour and they can draw an audience and keep their attention, then it can only help them.
We're looking at a little bit of a clip from this on the right-hand side of the screen now, Bill, and we're seeing Pam Martin, the former CTV newscaster, a nice face, but and we don't know what's in this, the whole thing in this 30-minute program, but presumably they're going to continue the idea of downplaying people like Christy, the leader, and giving a little more attention to people like Pam Martin and, who knows, Rich Coleman, other people on the BC Liberal team, and hoping to heck that voters like those people more than they like Christy Clark.
Well, even Kathy Dunderdale would be an improvement, I guess, over Christy Clark right now. It's
even
pretty
Jane
brutal.
Sturck, I'm told. Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty difficult situation. And of course, one of the challenges the Liberals face here, David, is when you've got the most unpopular premier in the country and you put them in TV and ads and on the road and in news stories every single day during election campaign and expect them to go up. It's a real challenge. Christy Clark has to change the way she approaches voters, change her public image in the course of 4 weeks, and that is a tall order for any politician anywhere.
Now, let's flip a bit and talk about Adrian Dix and the challenges facing him. The big thing last week was that announcement by Bruce Ralston, the finance critic, that or the challenge by Bruce Ralston of the Liberals' budget, that there's still a deficit in it, et cetera, et cetera. But what I took away from that is, okay, we've been waiting for the NDP platform, and it looks like the NDP platform is going to include this. It's going to include deficits the first couple of years. We're going to probably add about a couple of $1 billion of BC's debt before it might level out, and taxes are going up. And I know Adrian Dix has wanted to change the channel, that the NDP is more than just raising taxes and borrowing money, but they've now opened themselves up to that one.
Well, it appears they want to set the stage for a pretty grim financial outlook and certainly dampen the expectations of a lot of their supporters that there's going to be a lot of big spending and everything. And I think, British Columbians, there was some polling after the budget came out, the Liberal budget, 72% didn't believe it was balanced. And I think this sort of confirms, the NDP is trying to confirm that even further. But I think the overall goal really isn't so much to actually win points on it as much as it is to tell people, hey, the cupboard is bare, there's going to be a problem, and don't get your hopes up too high. We'll see. The policy platform, I believe, is coming out next week, and I think, what Adrian Dix has been talking about in terms of tax increases, first Christy Clark did it in their own budget, so it's not going to be a huge surprise, and he's been talking about it for months, so I don't think that part will be too surprising to anyone. But yeah, I think we're looking at deficits for sure.
It's often difficult to answer this question until after the election, and that is, what was the ballot question? Everybody's got ideas. I'm going to ask you for yours, because that idea, if we figure out what the ballot question is, maybe getting rid of the deficit is not so important. And I'm wondering, as I look at it from all the way from here in Ontario, the ballot question may be, do you believe the BC Liberals anymore when they say what they're going to do? Do you believe the BC NDP? Yes, 10 years ago they had some issues, but it comes down to, who do you trust?
Yeah, and it's also feeling like a time for a change election. We've had 12 years of Liberal government. We've had a lot of different problems and scandals, but Christy Clark has had 2 years to try and put an imprint that was more positive on BC and on her own image. And as we saw from this poll, she's obviously failed to do that. It's not succeeded at all. And I think it's sort of a time for change on a leadership question, ballot question, because Adrian Dix is ahead on every category. If you look at environment or health or finance, all the polls show he's ahead of Christy Clark. So there really isn't much else there.
All right, Bill Tieleman, appreciate your input tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David.
All right.